This is my process for the painting Vampire's Temptation. When I did this, I wanted to convey kind of a Magic the Gathering style card art to create this vampire who's sitting in the chair, kind of tempting you to come towards him. And in the background, I want to do a painting that ultimately is coming to life. And so the first thing I do is I trace this using a projector with a digital file that I hand drawn. And from there, I used just a sepia to paint the underpainting. And as you can see, I'm using quite a bit of mineral spirits to thin it out, and just kind of leaving the highlights, like especially the highlights on his skin, really a kind of much lighter tone. And then I'm actually going through with a second pass and creating darker tone values, and this is going to give me kind of a base template to work off of. Now in the end, most of this doesn't show through at all, so ultimately it's extra work, but it gave me a good idea of like the value structure of this particular piece. Now next, I'm putting on simple basic colors, green for the background. I'm going to use reds for the cushions and things like that. So you can ultimately see that I'm just putting in my basic colors. Now I'm using transparency in my paint, so again, this is more of a light wash than anything else. And I'm going to again go over it as well. But what it allows me to do is kind of block in the colors really quickly and get a good idea of value tone. I'm not really touching the skin at all at this point because I want to really have that more of a unique tonal value. And so you can see that I'm putting some of the darker blues in there, and then I'm pulling them out with a rag to ultimately get a smoother tone, especially on the pants and things like that. And then I'm using again darker tones for the wood textures, and I'm going to go in and use other values here for the skins. So as I'm painting the skins, I'm pretty much mixing 3 different colors. I'm mixing a light, a mid-tone, and a dark. And what that's going to allow me to do is get a nice value range of going back and forth. This is on a panel board, so it's relatively smooth and I can blend really quickly with that ability. So as you can see, I'm starting out with darker colors, but I'm also blending a little bit on the canvas, and that I think helps me out quite a bit. Now as you can tell, this is sped up quite a bit. So going through and putting in more highlights, I'm basically adding in lighter versions of the fabric and other elements of that sort. And the one thing I struggled with in this was ultimately there was just a lot of little details that I wanted to put in. And so I'm kind of mixing the point between painting and actual little details. So I'm actually trying to the value changes that But what gets harder and harder is to kind of change the value structure of details and a little bit more dark, add more detail. Super black. So now, as I work on this, to be a little bit painterly strokes. I'm not trying to smooth it out. I'm kind of adjusting things because going through, and at this point I've got most of the colors in except for human figures and tentacles, and what I'm doing is I'm just trying to even though they're very saturated, And so again, I'm doing a lot of detailed in here. It's ultimately just kind of going back and forth with the brush, painting highlights and shadows. You'll notice I'm using a very small brush, a lot of layers, and I see brush stroke. And at this point in the painting now, a lot of it is more technical and fun. Now back and forth and adding highlights and doing detail and stuff like that. And it's fine for what I'm doing now. But as I keep going, I elements that I didn't think about. Like right now, I'm in So at this point, I'm working on getting things to suck this straight line. So what I'm doing is I'm using tape details in the throne, in the figure, in the hand.